Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. You're either taking me in an online class or a face-to-face class, and this is a quick summarization of what we will be discussing in your chapter readings, discussions, or in-class activities. Today we're going to be talking about business ethics and social responsibility. You have to understand, ethics is basically your moral compass. Which way should I, as a business, should I treat the customer fairly, which we should, it's good business practice. Remember, don't assume that all business people are ethical. You do have some unethical people, and that's what this course is about. This chapter is about, is to show you how a business strives to be ethical, but sometimes its management kind of wavers a little bit because it's focused too much on the ultimate goals of achieving financial reward. So you have to find a balance between serving the customer, financial reward for my stakeholders, and also stockholders. Remember, stockholders are people who invest in the company. Stakeholders are anyone who the company touches. All right, so when we're talking about moral ethics, one thing you have to understand, I'm a business person. Where do I get my ethics from? The jobs I worked with, how I see other businesses react, but mostly myself. How I grew up, what I felt was morally ethical, correct, and that's how I infused that into my business. So ethics starts within me. Okay, now the dilemma we have that you're going to find out when reading this chapter is business ethics is that you're going to have two alternatives, good or bad. And a lot of times in businesses, you may have two alternatives that may not be so good. All right, and you have to decide between which one of those two are unsatisfactory alternatives I have to select. The other thing, okay, so that's with the ethics. So we're going to talk about the ethics. I'm going to utilize the concept map. Ponzi schemes, that's a way of ripping off people by creating basically an illusion you're making money, but you're basically just getting new memberships in there. I'm not going to go into there. What are ethics or laws? Ethics, let's look at it this way. I'm an ethical person. Let's look at abortion, and I'm just going to throw that out here. Is abortion legal? Yes. Is it ethical? Depends. Am I a pro-lifer or am I a pro, or what do you call it? A woman has a choice. Those are you see the two conflicts in here. So I did not break the law, but I may be considered unethical by my clientele or something because I support abortion or I support what do you call it? Pro-life. Do you see me? So in business, when we're looking at ethics, I have to find that balance between my personal and my business, and that's a hard thing to do. So a lot of times in business, I try not to tell my personal, do you support this, you support that. Some people, I may say something, but I try to keep my personal aspiration out of my business operation. We'll talk later about social responsibility. Okay, so laws, basically I created what the moral compass of the society thinks it is. Okay, facing moral dilemmas. Remember, now you have the full concept maps on here. There you go. Ask yourself the three questions. This is the old one, okay? And this one here is just one thing. When a lot of people give to charitable causes, I believe in charitable causes. Check out to make sure that the money that I'm giving actually goes to the cause. Because ethically, okay, legally, if I say that 90% of my giving, I'm a corporation, George's Charity, giving, I have that. This is social responsibility. So I give. You give to me, and then on my income statement, when I have to do as a business or a charitable organization, I have to tell them how I spent the money. I said that 90% of that money went for advertising, administrative costs. 10% went to help the cause. Did I do anything illegal? Nope. I followed the law. I showed everything. But people can say, hey, that's kind of high, George. So the unethical, the right thing to do is you look at the organization and you say, here's George's charity. He gives 85% to the charity, 15% is administrative costs. That is an effectively run organization. That's where I look at social responsibility. Do you see what I'm talking about when I'm looking at ethics? Okay, so I'm going to drop that and that up here. I'm trying to keep these under 15 minutes. Oh, I did all this, but I'm not even recording. Let me see, am I? Oh, yes, I am. Okay, I wasn't sure if I put it on. Yeah, it's early in the morning. Okay, so now, code of ethics. Now, when I'm looking at code of ethics, and I'm not going to go through all of it, there's two things. We have integrity. People that have that ethical value, they'll give the money, they'll never lie, they'll never cheat, they'll never do anything. I want that employee. Hard to find. Now, most of them is by compliance. So I'm looking at compliance is basically telling me, hey, if you get caught, I fire you. So you're basically being nice to customers because it's a policy or it's a requirement. You're doing it because of compliance. You don't want to run this red light because they got a red light camera. I mean, otherwise, I say it's closer to nobody out here, right? But that's I'm obeying by compliance. If I was an ethical person, I would never run that light. The light changed, I stop on money. Okay, so improve business ethics, unethical behavior. One thing I want to understand: most business people are very ethical, but what happens is they make a mistake. And they try to cover that mistake. And by covering that mistake, it snowballs. It gets bigger and bigger. And before you know it, I become I violated the laws, I'm lying, I'm doing everything else just to save face instead of saying, hey, I messed up, I'm sorry, it won't happen again, let's move forward, okay? Inside trader, social audits. Okay, now when you look at social responsibility, let's flip it on the other side. When I'm looking at social responsibility, you have the, what do you call it, the Family Medical Leave Act gives you 12 weeks paid vacation. Now, some companies will give that person more time than 12 weeks. They'll say, hey, the law says 12 weeks. We're socially responsible. We care for our employees. We basically said you could have 20 weeks, full pay. Doing above and beyond. They're socially responsible because they understand that raising a child from the beginning, the first 6 months is the hardest thing to do. It takes a lot more time. Afterwards, the child's a little more functional. It moves around a little bit more. You have a little more leeway in raising that child. The first 6 months very critical. So from a business person, I'm looking at my employees and say, hey, I'm very socially responsible. I'll give you additional time on there. Okay, so remember, when I am a sales manager, and I was a salesman, I tell you, don't cheat, or follow the rules. If you get caught, if you pad your expense account, it's a violation. It's an unethical violation. You're stealing from the organization. You are basically following the rules because of a compliance. Okay. So if I'm looking at during the emergency, we had the COVID-19 going on, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of businesses were basically, because of the emergency, because they want to help the society, they turned around and they changed their operation. They were doing face masks, ventilators. I think the auto industries did that because it was a complex. They had the machinery and the technology to do that. So that's basically social responsibility, giving back to the community, not charging them, opening up. Walmart opened up their parking lot to let people come in there and get the testing. They didn't have to do that. It was good social responsibility on Walmart's part. And on Walmart says, I want to use that as one. I'm just having my notes. Okay, so I think I have that. Being green, remember green, some company says we're green, but they just put the green logo up there, say, yeah, I support it, but they really don't. Their whole operation is non-green, whatever. So you have to investigate a company. As a company, what I'm looking at when we're going to go forward in marketing, I'm building a brand. I want people to know that I'm an ethical organization. If we overcharge you, we give you money. If you have an issue, we'll take care of your issue. Now remember, ethics is the same thing you're doing as a student, as an employer, or as an employee, or a business owner, or as an individual. You are basically building your brand. When you think of George, what do you think? Oh, George's going to rip me off. No, George is going to help me when I need it. All right. So basically, when I'm looking at ethics, we all are. It's all encompassing, and where we get ethics is what we see. What influences our moral compass, how we grew up, the neighborhood, the schools we went to. That's education helping you in ethics. You saw the teachers. You saw all the things giving you their values. You go to work and you see how people, how businesses treat other people as a customers. You see how you're being treated. So all these avenues, everything else is going on there, is how I take ethics and social responsibility, and they basically are tied together. All right. So most of us are very good moral individuals, but once in a while, we do waver a little bit. But we should be able to come back and say, hey, we made a mistake, or we put in policies and processes to minimize any kind of unethical behavior. And again, when you look at the social audits, it looks at all stakeholders, not only people building with me, everyone out there. Okay, so I'm going to end that now. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and this is a quick overview. Your book, your lectures, my mind maps. Remember, these are full mind maps you have on here. It has all this information. I'm not going to go into this. After reading, this is everything you have, so I'm just going to open this up so you see what you missed if you would have took my class. Okay, what do we have? All right, so you got to look at right or wrong, social audits. How are we doing? Pretty good? I know some people stop and look at that, so I'm giving you that. I'm giving you everything on here. Remember, when I look at giving, it's called philanthropy, because when I give to the poor or to my favorite organization or my cause, is basically I'm giving from my heart, even though I get a write-off. In businesses, when they go philanthropy, they basically give, but they may give because they want to improve the brand or they want to have a tax write-off, but basically we'll improve the image. Okay, so did I get everything else in here that you could look at? All right, remember, I didn't cover all this, but we've done this, all factors, ethics, okay, individual, organization. Dude, we got a lot of stuff. You got a lot of reading here. Take my class, all right? Again, my name is Dr. George, and I'll talk to you later. So here's everything you have. I'll go real slow motion. So you can see the dilemma, and I had that one in there. That's an old picture, but it's kind of nice. It actually broke it down when we talked about it. All right, and all this information, you got the first tier. You could add to it. And from the reading, you add your notes. The more you add, the more you remember. Remember, this is a fun. You get into basics. All right. Have a nice day and stay safe. Oh, only 12 minutes. I'm trying to make it 15 minutes. I didn't have to rush.